Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Shruti. In this video, I'm going to talk about assertions in Playwright. Before that, I hope you have watched my previous video. If not, please do watch them. They will give you a solid foundation to get started with Playwright. Okay, let us get started. So, what is assertion? Uh, just imagine you have automated a login test case. Okay, you have entered username, password, and clicked on login button, and script runs perfectly without any error, and you see the result: one test passed. But how do you know it's actually worked? Correct, you just told the script to click on the login button. Okay, this is where assertion comes to play. Okay, assertions are nothing but checkpoints in Playwright. Okay, they play a crucial part in verifying or validating the conditions. Suppose we took the example of login. So how do you validate that login is successful? Okay, you can add the assertion to validate page direction. Okay, after clicking on login button, you can validate something gets appended with the URL you passed, or after clicking on login button, you can validate welcome message, or and also once you click on login button, there won't be any login button, you will be seeing, or you will see logout button. Okay, you can validate logout button visibility. Correct, so these are all the assertions you can add to verify that login test case is successfully passed. Okay, there are many assertions in Playwright, but in this video I will show you the most commonly used and important ones. If you check the Playwright documentation on assertion, you will find many options. You can choose and use them based on your project requirements. Okay, let us get started with one by one. The first assertion I will show you is to have title. Okay, so this assertion is used to validate the page title, whether the page has expected title that we passed. Okay, okay, let us start. To do this, I will use Sauce Labs web page. Let us create a spec file. How to create? Right click and select new file and give a name. I will say assertions.spec.ts, and let us import two functions, that is test and expect. And from where we need to import? From Playwright test. Expect, spelling is wrong. Okay, now let us create a test block. Test, give the name. I will give assertion, yeah, assertions, and use async keyword and bracket open, inside curly braces, type page, and call an anonymous function. Okay, so here what we need to do first, we need to launch the browser, means application. So how to do that? Await space page dot go to, and type the URL of the web page. I will go here and copy the URL and paste it here. Okay, so here what we need to validate? We need to validate the page title. So how to validate? Await, always use await keyword, await expect. So whenever we want to validate something, we have to use expect keyword. Expect page, we're expecting page to have title. Okay, second option, to have title. What title? Let us go back to this application and check. The title is Swag Labs. Okay, let us type it here: Swag Labs, Labs. Okay, let me save and let us execute this. Okay, so how to execute? Go to terminal and select new terminal. Okay, I want to execute only this particular one. So npx playwright test file name, that is assertions dot spec dot ts. Okay, and I don't want to launch the browser and all. So, and I want to execute only on one browser. Project is equal to Chromium. Okay, hyphen hyphen project is equal to chromium. Okay, okay, enter. One test running. It's executing the assertion test. Okay, as we can see, one test passed. Suppose let us make some mistake here. Okay, I will not give labs, I will just give lab. Okay, and let me execute the same command. To have title swag labs, but we gave lab. Okay, so as we can see, it is failed and showing us the report. Here it is showing line 6 and saying here in this assertion. Okay, okay, it is showing the report. Okay, that it is not able to find swag lab. Here we can see that expected string is swag lab but received swag labs. Okay, okay. Now let us add one more assertions to the same test. So what will validate? Now let us validate the URL. Okay, the URL we passed is this one and it should give us the same URL. So how to validate? Await space expect use page dot, there is a method to validate the URL, that is to have URL. Okay, to have URL, let us copy the same URL and paste it here. Okay, now let us execute. I'll do control C and let me execute the same command. Okay, one test passed. Okay, this has the title swag labs and the URL is same as what we passed. Okay, now let us validate this element is visible on the page or not. So how to do that? For that we need to take the locator of this element. So how to take? Right click, inspect. Okay, it has class name. Okay, so let us take class name and go to grow path and validate. Okay, for class name, how do we write a CSS dot class name? Press enter and we can see one matching element. Let us take this locator, copy and come here. So what we need to do? Page dot locator and give that locator name. Okay, and let us keep this in some variable, const logo. Okay, I will name it as const logo. So now I will write a assertion to validate this logo is present on the page or not. So how to do? For that, expect what I'm expecting first we need to use await keyword. Await expect, I'm expecting logo to be visible, to be visible, sorry, to be visible. Okay, so this is the method we need to use to validate whether the element is visible on the page or not. So what we did, we took the locator in some variable and we are saying and the session what we are giving is expect this logo should be visible, to be visible. Okay, let us save and execute. I'm using the same command. Yeah, one test is passed. Now let us validate this username field is enabled or not. Okay, visible is different, enabled is different. If it is visible, it is just validating this is visible on the web page. It is enabled means we can perform some action on it, like passing the element or clicking, passing the value or clicking on the button, something like that. Okay, so let us validate this username is enabled or not. Let us inspect. Let me copy this and click here. Okay, what it is giving, it is giving id name. Okay, so since the id name is using unique, let us take the id name. I'm copying the id name. And how to write a css for id name? Ash id name. Okay, let me copy this. Copy. So I will keep this locator in some variable. Const username is equal to page dot locator. I'm pasting the locator. Okay, now await, expect, I'm expecting this username to be enabled. Okay, to be enabled. Third option, to be enabled. Okay, okay, let us execute and see. Okay, this is passed. Okay, so now let us see the report once. Okay, so let me copy this command and paste it here. Npx playwright show hyphen report command is to see the report. Okay, assertion is the name of the file. Assertion is the test. If you click on that, we can see that page.go to this before hooks and after hooks. I will explain in some other video. So this assertion is passed. Then to have title, to have URL, to be visible, and to be enabled, all are passed. Okay. This is the validation, what it is validating. To have, to be visible. Okay. In the same way, you validate this logo is present on the page or not, and this password field is enabled or not. Okay, so now I want to validate this page has this text accepted usernames are. Okay, to do that, there is a method that is to have text. Okay, so first let us inspect this element. Okay, so it has h4 tag. Okay, let me go to crow path and type h4. Okay, it has two matching elements. So what I'll do, see, observe carefully, it has h4 tag, and if you go to parent tag, it has unique id, that is login credentials. So I will take this id, login id, and I will type. So for id, what we need to do in css, ash id name and give a space. Okay, so from here I'm coming and taking this h4. Okay, give a space to do that. To come from parent to child, give a space and press enter. And now we can see one matching element. Let us copy this. Now let me keep this in some variable. Page a const space usernames. Okay, the variable name I'll give usernames is equal to page dot locator. Okay, now await expect what I'm expecting this user names, the second one names to have text, to have text. What text we are expecting? We are expecting it should have this text. Let me copy from here. To have this text. Okay, let me save and execute. You remember this is another way of writing the locator. Okay, parent to child. Just give a space. Okay, so now we see that one test passed. Suppose here, if you want to validate this text, password for all the users text has users word in it. Okay, so in that case, we cannot use to have text method because that validates the exact match. So to validate the partial match, we need to use to contain text method. Okay, to contain text method is to verify that element contains a specific word in it. Okay, so for that let us use this to contain text method. Now let me inspect this element. Okay, so as we can see it is also has h4 tag. Let us go to grow path and type h4. As we know it has two matching elements, so let us go to its parent. It has class. Okay, let us take class. For class, we need to use dot class name and give space. Okay, one matching element. Let us take this. Now we'll keep it in some variable. Const variable name is some text is equal to page dot locator. This is the locator. Okay, so now let us validate how to do that. Await space expect. What we are expecting, we are expecting this some text. Okay, to contain text. Okay, to contain text. So what text here will say users or all. It should contain all word. Okay, okay, let us save and run the script. So what is the difference between to have text and to contains text? To have text validate the complete match, full match. To contain text partial match. It validates this text is inside that element. Okay, okay, we can see that one test passed. We can go to this report and check the assertions. Okay, here as we see, to have text is passed, to contains text is passed, and all the assertions are passed. We can validate that this username element has some specific attribute and value. So we can validate this element has placeholder attribute and value is username, or we can validate any of that. To do that, we have a method called to have attribute. Okay, let us take this id is equal to username and validate this id is equal to username has attribute placeholder and the value is username. Okay, so for id we have to use ash. Okay, ash username. Okay, one matching element. It's always better to validate once whether if you have one matching element or not. Okay, Okay, const attribute value. I will just give the variable name as attribute value. Attribute value is equal to page dot locator, and this is the locator. And what I'm validating that expect what I'm expecting this attribute value to have attribute attribute, and here we need to pass two values. Okay, we need to pass two values. In the first value we need to pass the attribute name. So here what we are passing placeholder. Okay, let us copy placeholder, and in the second place we need to place the value of the placeholder. So here username. Okay. Okay, this to have attribute has two things. One is the name of the attribute, and in the second one we have to give the value of the attribute. Okay, let me save and run the script. Control C. Okay. Okay, as we can see, one test is passed. It means this username, this ID username has attribute placeholder, and the name is, sorry, the value is username. Okay, in the same way, we can validate some elements has some particular class name. Okay, so we'll take the same one and validate. It should have this class name, to have class. Okay. For that, there is a method that is to have class. So this element, it validates this expected CSS has a class name. Okay. So I'm using the same one. Await, expect what I'm expecting. I'm expecting this attribute value to have class. Sorry, not CSS, class, to have class. So what class it should have? Let us take from here. Input class. It should have this class. Let us save and run the command. To have class is to validate this particular element has this form input class. So form input is a class name. Okay, one test is passed. Here, we don't have to always keep the locator in some variable. Okay, see here in all this example, I'm keeping this locator in some variable. Okay, so we don't have to use this. We can directly apply the assertions. For that, await, expect. So here inside expect, we need to call page dot locator. Okay, so I will take the locator, this one, username. Okay, and after this apply your assertion. So I will say to have attribute. Okay, so just to explain you, I've kept the locators in variable and added the assertions in the next line. Okay, so we don't have to use that. We can directly write it in a single line. Await, expect, and inside a expect, we can say page dot locator and give the locator name, and after that add your assertions. Okay, these are some of the most commonly used assertions in Playwright. I hope that by seeing them, you must have got some idea about how to add assertions into your test. Okay, still we have many more. We will see in the next video. Okay, so let us revise. So to have title is to check the page title. To have URL, this ensures that page URL matches the expected one. And to be visible is to validate element is visible on the page. To be enabled is to verify that element is enabled and we can perform some action on it. And to have text is to check the element has the exact expected text. Here we need to remember it is to validate the exact expected text. And to contains method is to ensure that element contains specific text. Okay, then to have attribute is to validate that this specific element has some specific attribute with a given value. Then to have class is to validate element has a specific css class name. Okay, okay, these assertions are also called as hard assertions. Okay, in the next video, I will explain why this is called as hard assertions, and I will explain negative assertions, and I will explain what is soft assertions. Okay, so in the next video, I will explain why we call these assertions as hard assertions, and I will show you how to add negative assertions into the test and soft assertions. Okay, okay, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe to my channel, and please do practice. Okay, take any application of your choice and apply this assertion. Try to inspect the elements. Okay, thank you so much for